Hello, fourth graders. Today's math lesson is lesson 84, and it is called Multiplying by 10, 100, and 1,000. And so obviously we're going to do those things, multiply by a whole number, multiply it by 10, 100, and 1,000, but we'll also multiply dollars and cents by 10, 100, and 1,000. And we will also look at word problems that involve multiplication with several digits. So let's get started. As we said before, we're going to go skip right over the mental math and the problem solving problem. You can do that on your own if you would like. It will not be something that I will be grading anymore, but I would like you to do it if you would like to challenge yourself, for yourself, not for your teacher. Okay, so the new concept today, if you look at lesson 84 on page 562, it would be wonderful if you'd stop the video for a moment and read through from the new concept, example 1 and example 2. That would be awesome. But I'll kind of take you through the most important elements of that right now. So our lesson is very simple, and we've led up to this in the past. How do you multiply by multiples of 10? As you can see in the very first new concept information, it says to multiply a whole number by 10, we simply add a 0 to the end of the number. And when we multiply by 100, we add 2 zeros. When we multiply by 1,000, we add 3 zeros to a number. So for example, if we have the 123, we have learned that we can just leave the hanging O off to the end, and we can easily do 123 times 1 we know is 123, and we bring down that 1 0, and we know that the answer is 1,230. In the next example, the only difference is that now we are multiplying by 100, so we are leaving 2 zeros hanging off the side. So now we have 123, which we know times 1 is 123, and then we add 2 zeros that were hanging off. If this was a situation where you had 123 times 1,000, only difference would be that you would add 3 zeros at the end. So that's the first part of the new concept. It kind of broken down for you here on the board. But what happens when you are multiplying dollars and cents? That would be the next thing. So what if instead of just a regular multiple of 10, like 10, 100, or 1,000, what if instead we have a situation where now it is money that we're talking about? Okay, so in this case, we can do, let's say, like in this example, $1.23 times 100. We can do it exactly the same way. We leave off the 2 zeros at the end, and we know that $1.23 times 1 will still give us all the same numbers. 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1. The next step is not to do the decimal first, but to bring down those 2 zeros. And then, just like with all money that has dollars and cents, we check how many digits are behind a decimal point. In this case, there's 1, 2, as there always is when you have dollars and cents. So we put this right here. And the answer to $1.23, just a little more than $1, times 100 of those is going to be $123. And so it's really not complicated at all. If this did confuse you, please stop and watch it again. Look at your book. And we can now go on to example 1 and example 2. The only thing that I think it's slightly more complicated in this lesson is just when you have a word problem added to it. And now you have to find which numbers to multiply together. But even that is not scary. And we know everything we need to know to attack word problems, and we'll be fine. So don't let that make you nervous at all. Okay. So in the very next part, example 1, it says to multiply mentally 37 times 10. Think about that in your head. 37 times 1 is 37. Add a 0, and you get 370, right? If we have $6.12 times 100, that's similar to that problem we just did on the board last. And I'll write it, but no, you don't need to write it. You can if you like. Oops. Hold on one second while I stabilize my board on this easel. So $6.12 times 100, I would write it this way. Now, keep in mind that you're just really multiplying $6.12 times 1 first and then adding those zeros. So hopefully you can just think, oh, I'm going to need a 6, a 1, and a 2. But if you want to be sure, you can say 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 6 is 6. Add your 2 zeros. There are 2 digits behind a decimal point. And so we add our decimal point and our dollar sign, and we have $612 as our answer. Now, if we have 45 cents times 1,000, which is letter C, okay, so 45 cents times 1,000, I would do it exactly the same way. Put that multiple of 10, the 100, with the zeros hanging off to the side, and it's the same thing. What's 45 times 1? Well, 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 4 is 4, right? Add your 2 zeros. And let's see, add 45 cents times 100. And here we have, excuse me,